So, coming up in just over a month's time, it's the biggest fight of the year with Canelo Álvarez defending his undisputed super middleweight crown against Terence Bud Crawford. And let me tell you, I'm more bipolar than Tyson Fury on who I think's going to win this one.
Cristiano, you're the greatest footballer that's ever lived. And I mean that.
Thank you very much.
Messi or Ronaldo?
I think they're both wankers.
Yeah, I agree with the second Tyson Fury there. Both a pair of wankers if you ask me. But I tell you who aren't a pair of wankers. Canelo and Crawford, two top 10 pound for pound superstars. It's such a fascinating fight. There's so many variables. Nobody has a clue who's going to win, really. Neither looked great last time out. Canelo was very lackluster against William Skull. I mean, to be fair, Skull did do more running than Mo Farah that night, but at the same time, Canelo of a few years ago would have cut the ring off and he would have got Skull out of there. It was a horrendous fight, such a low punch output from both men. And Canelo has traditionally struggled with movers going back to when he fought Floyd in 2013. I know Mayweather was one of the best boxers ever. At the time, he was the pound for pound #1. But Canelo barely landed anything that night. Ultimately, he just never got into the fight. He looked so frustrated, even more frustrated than me, trying to watch Pornhub this morning. What the fuck is this age verification all about? All I wanted to do was watch a bit of Youssef Mack, and now I can't even do that. The game is well and truly gone. But yeah, it wasn't just against Floyd where Canelo struggled against the mover. He really struggled against Erislandy Lara. Lara outboxed him that night. For me, he got robbed. I know nobody likes Lara because he's safety first, very defensive, typical Cuban style southpaw, but Lara won that fight. He outlanded him by 10 punches. I know 10 punches isn't a great deal. And to be fair, Canelo did land more power punches, but the cleaner, more effective work came from Lara that night. So I think Crawford can take a lot of confidence from Lara and Mayweather's performances against Canelo. But then when Canelo fought Billy Joe, who's a fantastic mover, also a southpaw, he absolutely battered him in the end. I mean, I thought Billy Joe was doing all right up until the eye injury, but Canelo busted that eye up with that beautiful uppercut. And had Billy Joe came out for the 9th round, he was on the verge of getting brutally knocked out. It would have happened probably in the first minute or two of round 9. But then since then, we've only seen one Canelo stoppage, which came against Caleb Plant. That was a really spicy build-up. There was a shove in there from Canelo, a nice little slap from him as well. And after stopping him inside 11 rounds, he was on top of the world, but it has been very boring since then. He lost to Dimitri Bivol, which, to be fair, Canelo was way too small for light heavyweight. He dared to be great. No shame at all in losing to Bivol. He bounced back after that, winning a unanimous decision against GGG in a very dull fight. Golovkin looked shot to bits. It was at super middleweight as well. Golovkin was never a super middleweight. And I don't care what anyone says, Golovkin won those first 2 fights against Canelo. But credit where credit's due, Canelo did win the 3rd Golovkin fight with ease. And from there, it's pretty much been the exact same story against John Ryder. He dropped him in round 5, won on points wide. Again, the same with Charlo, dropped him in round 7, unanimous decision win. This is getting boring, Canelo, but there's more. Jaime Munguia after that, yep, unanimous decision win. I'll drop you in round 4, and then I'll carry you until the end. Edgar Berlanga, I'll drop you with a left hook in round 3, and then win on points again. And then against William Skull, it was just a unanimous decision win. We didn't even get to see Skull get dropped. Absolutely fucking pathetic. But Crawford wasn't exactly convincing in his first fight at super welterweight against Madrimov. He did what he had to do to get the win, but it wasn't vintage Crawford. We did see that against Errol Spence Jr. Bud looked sensational that night, dropping Spence in round 2 and again twice in round 7 and then stopped him in 9 rounds. It was unbelievable from Crawford, who looked as good as he's ever looked that night. And it's mad how Crawford never mentions his win against Spence, but he'll always mention his wins against Ricky fucking Burns and Victor Postel. I think he does himself a disservice there. Also never mentions the win over Sean Porter, stopping him inside 10 rounds. And I know it was post the car crash when he fought Spence, but that was still a live dog in there. He was still 28-0 Spence. Nobody had beat him before. And Crawford schooled him and stopped him and made him look like a novice. And Sean Porter still had a lot left when Crawford beat him. I mean, to be fair, he did retire after that, and Spence hasn't fought either since Crawford beat him up. But they were still 2 really good wins for me. For me, his best 2 victories by a mile. I know he's also beat Kell Brook and Amir Khan, but both were well past their best. But yeah, I feel for Crawford because he's 37, and when you look at his resume, he's never avoided anyone, but he is lacking those massive names. And if he can pull this off, this will be a monumental victory for him. I think there's a lot more pressure on Canelo because he's fighting the smaller man. Crawford's coming up 2 weight classes, but really it's 3 because he's only had 1 fight at 154. So I think naturally we will have to see a much better Canelo because of the level of opposition he's in there with. And plus because there's a bit of beef there. I mean, it's all manufactured. 1 minute they're having dinner together, fingering each other. The next, all of a sudden, there's all this drama at the press conferences where they're slagging each other off. I think Turkey definitely had a word with both of them and said, look, you boys need to sell this fight. So I think if it does get more heated and it does become a bit more genuine, I definitely think that'll help Canelo because he has to be fully motivated for this. He has to be fully locked in. And if we get the best version of him, I do believe he will stop Bud Crawford. But on the flip side, Crawford is so good. And he's the type of fighter very similar to Usyk, where you look at him and you think you are capable of anything. Very similar to when Roy Jones Jr. went up and he beat John Ruiz at heavyweight. You just get that feeling with Crawford that he is capable of special things. And if anyone can do this without the rehydration clause, it's 100% him. And technically, he is better than Canelo. I think his southpaw style will cause him fits. And I definitely think he'll win rounds in there. But Canelo is massive at 168, even though Crawford is actually the slightly taller man and he does have the longer reach. But in terms of natural strength and power, Canelo definitely has the advantage. So I have no idea who's going to win at the minute. I'm leaning towards Canelo, but fuck knows. It's going to be such a mega event. The Allegiant Stadium will be rocking. It'll be fully sold out. This will do millions of views. And I'm buzzing my tits off for it. So I'll do a proper prediction closer to the time. But right now, I honestly have no idea who's going to win. I think you've got to make Canelo a slight favourite. But if you think Crawford's a slight favourite, I have no problem with that either because both are just so good. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. Feel free to give me some abuse if you think I'm talking absolute bollocks. Subscribe if you're new. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you all on the next one.